Comfortable. That's the word you used. Not lazy, not afraid, not stuck. Comfortable. It's a good word, a reasonable word. It sounds like something you earned, like a reward for all the years you pushed through things that were hard, and it was for a while. But comfortable is not a destination. It's a current, and currents don't ask where you want to go. They just carry you. The question nobody asks about comfortable is this. Comfortable compared to what? Comfortable compared to last year, compared to where you started, or comfortable compared to where you could be going. Because those are three completely different numbers, and only one of them is moving in the right direction. You are 24 years old. You have a job, a real one, not glamorous, not your dream, but stable, consistent, predictable. You know what's expected of you. You know how to do it. You know how the day will go before it starts. And that knowledge, that predictability, feels like solid ground after years of uncertainty. You stop pushing as hard as you used to. Not because you gave up, because you arrived, or at least, it feels like arriving. The problem with feelings is they don't show up in spreadsheets. You come home, you decompress. You watch something, scroll something, eat something. The evening passes, the week passes, the year passes, and you are exactly where you were 12 months ago. Not worse, not better, exactly the same. This is the first cost of comfortable. It has no visible price tag. You don't feel it leaving. You just notice one day that something hasn't arrived. The first rule, comfortable is not neutral. Every month you stay comfortable in the wrong place is a month you're moving backward in the right one. You are 26. Your friend Daniel just quit his job. Not dramatically, not with a fight or a breakdown. He just gave his notice on a Tuesday, thanked his manager, and walked out of a building he'd worked in for 3 years. You ask him what he's going to do. He tells you he's been building something on the side for 8 months, a consulting practice, small, early, but already generating enough to cover his rent. You didn't know about it. Nobody did. He didn't announce it, didn't post about it. He just built it. Quietly, in the evenings, on weekends, while everyone else was decompressing. You do the math that night. 8 months, roughly 5 hours a week, 160 hours total. 160 hours is not a dramatic sacrifice. 160 hours is 4 standard work weeks. 160 hours directed at one thing with intention was enough to build an exit from a life he didn't want. You think about your last 160 hours. You can't account for most of them. They pass through you like water through a drain. Fast, frictionless, and gone. This is the second cost of comfortable. Not what you spent, what you didn't build. You are 28. You get a raise, not a large one, a standard one, the kind that keeps up with inflation. If you're lucky and falls slightly behind it if you're not. You feel good about it for approximately 3 days. Then the number normalizes, becomes the new baseline, and the wanting starts again from the new floor. This is lifestyle creep, the quiet expansion of expectations to meet whatever income arrives. It doesn't feel like a problem. It feels like progress. New apartment, better grocery store, nicer things, all reasonable, all earned. But something else is happening underneath the reasonable. Every dollar you upgrade your life with is a dollar that isn't building anything, and you are 28. The people who understand compound interest don't just apply it to money. They apply it to skills, to habits, to decisions. They understand that the most expensive years of your life are not the ones where you spend the most. They are the ones where you build the least. Because those years don't just cost you the time they take. They cost you everything that time was supposed to make. The second rule, lifestyle inflation, is not about the money you spend. It's about the options you trade away to spend it. You are 29. There's a version of you that exists in parallel. You've never met him. You never will. But he's real in the way that math is real. He made one different decision at 24. Not a dramatic one, not a courageous one, just a small, consistent, uncomfortable one. He started something. Didn't know if it would work. Didn't wait until he was ready. Just started. And then he kept going. Not every day, not perfectly, but consistently enough that the thing grew. By 26, it was generating $800 a month. By 28, $2,400. By 29, he had options you don't have. Not because he was smarter, not because he had more time, not because he was braver in some fundamental way, because he chose discomfort on purpose, repeatedly, quietly, without an audience, and discomfort, compounded, becomes the gap. You feel the gap now, not dramatically, not in a crisis, just a low, persistent awareness that something is different between you and him, that the distance between where you are and where you could have been is measurable now, and it started with comfortable. You are 31. You sit down and do the real math, not the comfortable math, not the I'm doing fine math, the honest math. You open every account you have simultaneously. You look at them without flinching. Your salary has grown 23% since you were 24. Your savings rate has stayed flat. Your net worth has moved, but slowly. Slower than it should be moving at 31. You think about the people you went to school with. The ones who are quietly ahead now. Not the lucky ones, not the connected ones. The ones who made themselves uncomfortable on purpose. The one who learned to code at night and now freelances. The one who started a newsletter and now has 12,000 subscribers. The one who bought a small property at 26 and has equity now. None of them had advantages you didn't have. They just chose differently in the evenings. Consistently, without fanfare, you pull up a compound interest calculator. You type in numbers. If you had invested $400 a month starting at 24 at a 7% average annual return, you would have $47,000 by now. You didn't. Not because you couldn't afford it, because it didn't feel urgent. Comfortable things rarely do. The third rule, urgency is a feeling. Compound interest doesn't care about your feelings. It runs whether you feel it or not. You are 33. Something shifts, not a crisis. Not a rock bottom, just a Tuesday where the clarity arrives and you decide not to ignore it this time. You sit with the discomfort. Not the discomfort of failure, the discomfort of potential, the understanding that you are not too late, that the math still works in your favor, that 33 with intention is more powerful than 24 without it. You start something, small, unglamorous, a skill you've been meaning to learn for 2 years. A project you've been mentally starting since you were 28. You don't announce it. You don't post about starting. You don't wait for the right moment or the right mood. You open the laptop. You begin. The first hour is uncomfortable. The second is less so. By the third, something is different in the room. Not because you've accomplished anything yet. Because you've made a decision that the comfortable version of you wouldn't have made. And decisions like money compound. You are 35, 2 years in. The thing you started is real now, not life-changing, not yet, but real in the way that only built things are real. It generates $1,800 a month. It has a small audience that trusts you. It is compounded in the background of your life, while the comfortable version of you was still doing what he always did. You look back at the gap, not with regret, with information. The gap between where you are and where the parallel version of you is has narrowed significantly. Not closed, narrowed. And narrowing at this rate compounds too. You understand something now that was impossible to understand at 24. Comfortable was never the problem. The problem was mistaking it for a destination when it was always just a rest stop. The fourth rule, the cost of staying comfortable, is not paid all at once. It's paid in the gap. The slowly widening distance between who you are and who you were building toward. You are 40. You are not the parallel version of yourself. You are not where you would have been if you had started at 24 instead of 33. But you are not where you were either. You have built something real. You have made yourself uncomfortable, on purpose, repeatedly, for 7 years. And the 7 years have compounded. You look at the people who stayed comfortable. Not with judgment, with recognition. They are not lazy. They are not foolish. They went to work every day. They paid their bills. They lived their lives. But the system they built at 24 was a comfort system, not a building system. And systems compound both kinds. That was always the only thing that was true. You are 24 years old. You have a job, a real one. It's stable, predictable. You know how the day will go before it starts. And somewhere in the back of your mind, something is asking a question you haven't answered yet. Not, am I happy? Not, is this enough? The question is simpler than that, and more uncomfortable. What is this building? The machine doesn't care if you answer. It runs either way. Every comfortable evening is a decision. Every deferred discomfort is a compounding cost. The gap opens quietly. It always has. It always will. And somewhere right now, a parallel version of you is opening a laptop in an uncomfortable evening and beginning. He doesn't know if it will work. He's beginning anyway. The distance between you and him starts tonight. It always does.